How's it going, guys? What we're going to be doing in this project is actually adding a bull bar to my 2018 Toyota Tacoma. This is something that I knew I was going to do just as soon as I got this truck. I just like the way that they make the trucks look. I put one on my Tundra back when I first got it, and now I am going to be adding one to this. This is a very easy project. It does not take a lot of tools. Just a few basic hand tools, and you are able to do something like this very easily. Now, the first thing that we've got to do is to remove the splash guard down here on the very bottom, and it is held on with a series of 10mm bolts. I would highly suggest, if you're doing this by yourself, start taking the bolts loose on the outside and work your way from the outside in toward the middle. That way you can kind of help yourself hold on to this, and you don't get as much twisting and things like that when you go to remove this. So that's going to be the first step in our process. But right here is our bull bar. This is the KYX 3-inch bull bar. This is one that I got from Amazon. I will leave a link down in the description if you guys want to check it out. There's several different models of these available. There's some that do have lights built into them and things like that, so just go down to the link below and you can check those out. But guys, this is going to be a fun project. It's not going to take us very long to do this, and I just wanted to bring you guys along with me. So here we go. Most of the bolts for this are going to be located on the outside of the splash guard, but on the outer corner, you can see here just in front of your wheel, there are a couple there that we're going to remove. Okay, again, start on the outside, work your way toward the middle, make it just a little bit easier for you. Now right here, this part of the splash guard, we're going to have to trim this over just a little bit. You can do that with a pair of 10 snips, and that will give us access to the flange nuts that hold the bumper on. And you know, this is something that just a good pair of 10 snips or a Dremel with a cutoff wheel can do very easily. Alright guys, just to show you, this is the piece that I had to cut off. You can see there, just a very small section. Here are the two nuts that we are going to need access to. Those are a 14mm, so now we're just going to take a 14mm socket, loosen those up, and we will be able to put our brackets on. Just to show you guys, a lot of the videos that are out there actually have you to remove the grill in order to be able to access the bolts for this. You can see here that I did not. If you've got the right tools, you can reach those bolts from the bottom without having to remove the grill. It may take you just a little bit more time, but it's really up to you. It really depends on what you want to do. It doesn't bother me to do it like this. You know, I have the tools. I'm able to get my hands up in there and do what I need to do. But you can see here that we have the bracket pretty much in place. I've got the top bolt snugged up. I still got to tighten the bottom bolt, but before we do that, we have got to run a bolt through the frame, through the front of this here. Guys, here is the bolt that I'm talking about. This long bolt here will go through the frame, and then we have a spacer that has to go through, or go between our bracket and the frame of the truck, and that way it kind of keeps everything even and locked in. So that's what we're going to do now. Opening the hole through this frame, this is going to slide through here like this, but before we slide that all the way through, we've got to put this spacer in between the plate and the frame. And now we can go ahead and put on a washer, a lock washer, and then the nut. Now we can get everything snugged down. Alright guys, we now have the first side done, and we're moving on to the driver's side. And you can see I've already got the splash guard trimmed back to give me access into these bolts. So that is where we are at currently in this project. Again guys, a lot of people will recommend pulling the grill off. It's just really up to you, but this does go to show you that it is not 100% necessary to do that. So it's just up to you. Anyways guys, we're going to keep going. Just to show you guys with a little bit better light how I'm getting these. The ratchet that I'm using has a swivel head on it. It also has a fine click reset on that. If you have some of these cheap ratchets that are, you know, you got to turn the thing about a quarter turn before it's going to click, before you can pull it again to tighten, you're not going to be able to do this. Okay, you need to have a ratchet that does have a fine geared head to where when you turn it, it does not take very much for it to click. But that is how that I am able to get these bolts from underneath, having the swivel head, and then of course a deep well socket along with a ratchet with a fine tooth reset, you know, the fine tooth head on it. Anyways guys, I just wanted to take a little bit more of a little bit better video of that, just to show you guys, in case any of you all are able or are wanting to put the bull bar on your Tacoma. We've got the top pretty much tight. We're going to be moving on to this bottom bolt, but again, we need to put our long bolt through this plate as well, and then just tighten everything up. A lot of people will leave the splash guard off. I'm going to be reusing it on mine, and in order to be able to do that, I've got to trim it just a little bit. I've got to make an opening for this bracket to come through. And one trick that you can use to measure exactly where you need to trim this is just take a little bit of grease or something else, put on the end of that bracket, then set the splash guard up there carefully. And then, you know, once you get it close to where it's going to be, you just touch it against that and it'll mark it on the back side for you. It's just very easy. You can measure, you can hold it up there and mark it with a marker or just whatever, but this is just a very simple technique that I'm using for doing this. Just eyeball it, get it close. And then you can see where that grease touched it, and all we got to do is just trim it out a little bit around there. Alright guys, here is our bull bar. We've got it unboxed now, and of course we're just using the top of the box just to keep it off the concrete, keep it from getting scratched up. We're ready to put our final bracket onto the bull bar itself. There is a driver's side and a passenger side. Make sure that you don't get them mixed up. Take a bolt with a lock washer as well as a flat washer, run it through there and put it onto the bull bar. Do not tighten this all the way up just yet. You're going to need a little bit of adjustability in it to be able to get it where you need it in its final position. So just snug it up to where you can move it around. It doesn't take much, but just like that. And of course, we're also going to be putting one on the other side as well. what I'm going to do now with it setting on the box top like this is just slide it over into position, and using the box top is going to give me just a little bit of leverage, and I'm going to have a couple of bolts ready to where we can simply rotate this up, set it into place, and once we get a couple of them in, we can just lift it up and slide the others in. You're going to need a bolt, a flat washer, you're going to need a nut, another flat washer, and a lock washer for the other side. So here we go. Again, you want to make sure that you know, those brackets, you've left them loose for this purpose here because you're going to need to adjust them. So we're going to simply slide this back into position. Get that first hole lined up. Now once you have one bolt on each side, all you have to do is simply rock the bull bar up into place, slip another bolt through, get your flat washer, drop it on the floor, flat washer, lock washer, and another nut. And you're not ready to tighten everything up just yet. You want to get this lined up right where it needs to be first. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Once you get everything, all the bolts started, go ahead, and I'm just using my knee pressed against the bull bar, just like that, lifting it up, holding it in about where I want it to be at. So now we're just going to be working on tightening everything up. Alright guys, here we are. You want to make sure that you come in here and tighten all of the bolts, including this one here especially. You know, leaving that loose will give you just a little bit of adjustability, but once you get it bolted up, then go ahead and make sure that you tighten it up, and you can see that it is solid. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this is because of how easy it would be to crack this plastic. I know that if you are ever to have a good hard smack, that this is going to simply fold in, but for minor things, this right here can help add a little bit of protection. Also, driving it, this skid plate right here can give you just a little bit more protection of you know, having rocks and things like that fly up and hit and chip into paint and stuff like that. It's just a little added thing. Plus, I like the way that it looks. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to pull it out of the shop and give you guys just a little bit better view of it. And I really like how this looks. I knew that even before I got this truck that I would be adding one of these to it. So we're going to go and pull it out of the shop, and I'm just going to show you a little bit more about it. Alright guys, here it is. Just a little bit of work and we have it installed finally. I still need to give my truck a good cleaning. It's got a lot of spots all over it. It's been raining here the last few days. We finally got some nice weather. And you can see how the splash guard looks. I really think that you know, I wanted to add that back on. That was something that I know a lot of people will leave off, but I wanted to add it back on. I just need to clean it up, get rid of some of the fingerprints, and I'm probably going to go ahead and give the whole truck a good coat of wax here before long. It's springtime right now as I'm recording this, so it's time to clean up some vehicles. But guys, I really like the way that it makes the truck look. I think that it is just a great addition. You know, it's not going anywhere now. It's bolted solid. And I really like how it just kind of completes the front end. There are a few different styles of these. You can get them with the light bar. There are openings here, these little plugs, where I could add lights on this if I wanted to. Of course, you can buy some with the lights already on them. I'll put a link down in the description. Go check those out. And you know, it's over to Amazon, so that way you can kind of help support the channel as well if you're interested in doing something like this. Guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of the videos on the channel. Be sure to subscribe, share the videos, and guys, we'll see you next time.